Hey, happy Wednesday, folks. We continue our April prayer calendar. It is Wednesday, April 6th, and the reading from today is Luke chapter 24, verse 1. So turn your Bibles to Luke chapter 24, verse 1. Luke is one of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke. So it's in the New Testament, third book of the New Testament. Luke chapter 24, verse 1. We continue reading these resurrection stories. Yesterday we saw a resurrection story from Matthew, Mary, the two Marys going to the tomb, and today we have a different version of that same event. It's always fascinating to me as you read the Gospels. There's four Gospels and four different ways in which the empty tomb story is told. Different people there, angels, men in dazzling white. Today we see two men in this passage. Who was there, how people responded, and so sort of the story told from different perspectives. And we can imagine that. We can understand that multiple people being at one place as they recount the story, they get different details, correct. They see different things. They express different viewpoints of the event. And then those stories are transmitted orally until they get written down by the gospel writers. And so by the time they get to the gospel writers, the stories are a little bit different from one another. And this is part of the beauty of the gospels, because that gives us an opportunity to see a sort of broader perspective and picture for our own spiritual life as we see this story, but many, many stories in the gospel. Sort of it widens the resources that we have in understanding who God is, as opposed to just one story that is the same all the way through. So enough about that. Luke 24, verse 1. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, taking the spices that they had prepared. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they did not find the body. While they were perplexed about this, suddenly two men in dazzling clothes stood beside them. Remember yesterday in Matthew, it was one man in dazzling clothes. The women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, but has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still in Galilee that the Son of Man must be handed over to sinners and be crucified, and on the third day rise again?" Then they remembered his words. And returning from the tomb, they told all this to the 11 and to all the rest. And so these women have this experience. They talk with these guys. Maybe they're angels. I don't know what it means that they're in these dazzling white clothes. But so they talk to these men. They get the story, understanding now and sort of putting two and two together. Remember, Jesus talked about his life and death and resurrection. The disciples and the others around them didn't necessarily completely understand what he was saying, but post-resurrection, they're beginning to sort of put these pieces together. Oh, that's what he meant when he said that he would be lifted up by the Father. He would be resurrected. And so they begin putting this together. They go back, they tell all the 11. Now, verse 10, now it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary, the mother of James, and the other women with them who told this to the apostles. So the women tell the 11 apostles, but these words seemed to them, the apostles, an idle tale, and they did not believe them. So the women come back and tell the men, you'll never guess, the men don't believe the women. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb, stooping and looking in. He saw the linen clothes by themselves. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened. I think there's all kinds of devotional lessons here. When we think about those angels, those two men in the tomb, who is it in your life that has helped you understand the workings of God in your life? There's a lot of thoughts there that we can give around that question. Or what about the men not believing the women? Where have there been places in your life where you have failed to believe or understand the work of God in your life, even when other people told you? some good thoughts that we could put into that? When have you been like Peter in life and you just had to go and see for yourself? Right? That's what Peter does. He doesn't believe the women. He believes them enough to say, I need to go and see for myself. What is it that you are hoping this Easter to see for yourself as to what God is doing in the world and in your life? Great devotional thoughts from these passages. I offer those to you this day, and pray that you have a good day. God bless.